Hello everybody. The purpose of this video is to talk about Tiger 1s. To talk about the variants of the Tiger 1 and the kits that you can buy to make those variants. There seems to be a lot of confusion amongst model builders who aren't Tiger enthusiasts, so my goal is to clear some of that up for someone who is looking to build a Tiger and doesn't quite know all of the things that they want to know. I am not an expert at all, so the first thing that I will tell you is that if you really want to dig into the Tiger, the first place you should go is tiger1.info. That is David Burden's website. He is Dragon's advisor on their kits, so he is the guy to talk to. Secondly, there's a site called Tiger M Focus, which I suggest you check out if you really want to get into like a specific tank or where it was or what it looked like. Or just come over to International Scale Modeler, where I hang out and a sort of layman of Tigers are, but we know some things. But I know enough. I've spent about a year hyper-focusing on Tigers, so I will share what I understand with people who don't. So let's talk about variants first. The first variant would be the initial. So this is only about 9 tanks, I think. They were all sent to Russia in 1942. They were all either dark gray or dark gray with whitewash. Those are very specific looking tanks. They either had no turret bin, Panzer III turret bins, or these sort of Dumbo turret bins. Their other defining characteristics would be that they didn't have side fenders, they don't have exhaust shrouds, they have 2 pistol ports instead of 1, which is standard. They can have mirrored tracks instead of standard tracks. And they, in general, I believe, don't even have tow cables or tools. The second variant would be the DAC initial, or just DAC. These are getting closer to a normal Tiger. They have side fenders, but they're bent in the middle, so the back 2 are straight and then the front 2 angle up. They have squared off or angled exhaust shrouds. Their turret bin is wider than a standard one. Their front fenders bend, have like a halfway through, have a bend in them. Their headlights can be, I think, or almost always are, placed on the glacis, not on the deck of the hull. Their tow cables tend to be reversed, so the hooks for hooking onto things are in the rear instead of the front. And they have the early version of the FIVO filters, which were only on a few types of tanks. After that, you get into the post-initial or early. I don't think everyone even acknowledges that this is a variant. I do, because it's probably because Tiger 131, which is very famous, is one. So this is basically a standard early with a couple of features, but so it's the first time you see standard rounded exhaust shrouds, the first time you see 1 pistol port and an escape hatch, the first time you see the standard straight side fenders, the standard tool layout and cable layout, and then you still have the early FIVO filters, but you have the standardized turret bin. So after that, you get to the early, standard early, very widely distributed. This is the last time you see the drum cupola, which has been on every variant up until now. This is the first time you see spare tracks on a turret. The S-mine launcher system, which are 5 little, well, mine launchers around the upper deck. This is the last time you see the early tracks without the ice cleats, and then you see the late version of the FIVO filters, which are 1 piece instead of 2 separate canisters. Then you go to the mid. The mid is kind of a big change. Everything up until now has been sort of smaller ones, but so the mid is the introduction of the cast cupola. It should have Zimmerit. They can have a travel lock on the rear of the tank. The first time you see late tracks with ice cleats. It's the first time you see a single headlight in the middle of the glacis instead of 2. Last time you see the dish wheels, and the pistol port has been deleted. Now the last one after that is the late, which is nearly the same to me, at least, as a mid, but you get a slightly different extension off of the hull where the tow hooks go. They have the option of having the King Tiger's muzzle brake, and they always have steel wheels. Well, I say always, but there's always exceptions. So those are the main variants. I know that might sound a little bit scary, but so there are initial, DAC, post-initial, if you want to acknowledge that, early, mid, and late. So some people don't quite understand that there are pretty big differences. So if they, this video is meant for laymen, not Tiger people. So please don't leave any comments about blah blah blah, you got this wrong. I'm sure I get a ton of stuff wrong. I'm not an expert here. But, you know, so you can't put tritonal camo on a DAC Tiger, and you can't put fivals on a late. Like, these are just very standard things. I'm not talking about, like, super specific stuff, but... So, also there are, like, very unique tanks, like the Fairman Tigers, which I believe are late hulls with, like, early turrets. I don't even think those should be kits. Those are silly. And they cost a lot. Dragon make kits of those, and they're very expensive. So, I'm going to take off my tanks here and briefly talk about Tamiya. Actually, so this one is a Tamiya early, and I've built 2 of theirs, including this one. So let me go over their kits really quickly. So that is the first Tamiya Tiger that I ever made. Kit number is 35056. This is a 1975 rebox of a 1969 RC kit. My suggestion is to never buy or build this. It is technically an earlier post-initial because it's based on 131. You can tell by the handle for climbing up on the glacis, and there should be a step there, which is in the kit, but it's really spongy and terrible. This whole kit is out of scale, and I just do not suggest it to anyone. It's awful. There's not enough wheels. The tracks have to be melted together. So I just wanted to cover this one really quickly in saying that if you see this image in like an eBay, don't buy it. It's awful. So Tamiya has 4 other Tigers. Standard toolings, I guess, from the 90s. You've got 35146, which is a late, which is fine. These are all fine, they're just not amazing. So you've got 35194, which is a mid. So these came out in 1989 and 1995, respectively. Then you have slightly unprepared here. This one, 35216. This is the one that I built here. Okay. I like this one fine. This is just an early version of the exact same sort of tooling that I'm talking about. All of the Tamiya Tigers are roughly the same. So after this one, because that one was in 97 and 98, they put out this. This is 35227, so this is the DAC initial. So all you need to know from this is that all of these kits are, let's call it 90% the same sprues. And they have little bits in them that are different, so this one is good for building either an early or a post-initial like 131. And this one is meant for building a DAC initial. You've got the very specific, which I didn't even mention, rear mud flaps, early fivals. These are in the other kit as well. But all the Tamiya kits are fine. They're not great, they're fine. They do require, to my standards, some upgrading due to a few things. None of them have photo etch grills, which go here on the vents, so those will have to be aftermarket. The tracks have solid guide horns, right? So this might not be a thing for everybody, but it's a thing for me. And they're vinyl tracks, but some people are okay with that. But my big issue is the solid guide horns. No Tigers ever had those. They all had lightning holes. So I want my stuff to be accurate to where when I look at it I don't see some glaring thing. So right there you'll see lightning holes in my aftermarket tracks. That's important to me. It might not be important to everybody, but so I have to upgrade the tracks on any Tamiya Tiger I make, but I upgrade the tracks on every Tiger I make because Dragons are not good in my opinion either. The 2-piece barrels are a bit of a deal breaker, but old school guys can fix that, so that's not, I don't think that's as big of a deal. One thing that did bother me, I think a lot of noticed, in the Tamiya one, these don't have these little notches in them, so I had to use Dragon ones for this. So the Tamiya ones are just like a solid, they look like S-mines instead of these. These should have these little notches in them. But that's me. Other people might not care about that. Also, I had to add the little loader's hatch bracket. That's not in the Tamiya ones either. and it is in all the Dragon ones. So I at least wanted to upgrade this one, which is probably the, besides the DAC one, the only Tamiya Tiger I'll ever build. I wanted it to get to Dragon standards. So those are things to keep in mind with Tamiya's Tigers. All four are fine. The late, the mid, the early, and the initial, they go together really well. There's some like two half pieces, like the fivals will have a big seam you'll have to clean up, and the barrels will. But apart from that, they go together really good. You just got to buy extra stuff for them. So they're all fine. They're just a little bit lacking in detail. So let's get into the Dragon stuff. It's the main reason I'm making this video. I saw lots of people online paying too much money for stuff that I didn't think they needed to pay as much money for. Or I didn't think they understood why they were paying as much money as they were. So, sorry, bumped that. So Dragon has released, I have 8 of them. There are a few I don't have, so I'll just talk about them and I'll throw pictures up. So 6252 is the initial tooling of what we call like the current Dragon Tigers, right? And the reason that that one is considered good is because it comes with this large goodie thing, this little black box full of stuff. It has a metal barrel, metal toe shackles, spare antenna tubes, a bucket, smoke dischargers are brass, 88 rounds, 3 big PE sheets are in the kit, whatever. 2 DS figures of like a cameraman and his assistant. The thing people don't understand about this kit, I think, is that it was before they were putting photo etch grills in their kits. It's the only one, I think, actually, that doesn't have them. May have been because they thought the initial Tigers didn't have them. I don't know if they just weren't doing it yet. I have no clue. Also, the Magic tracks don't have lightning holes. They are solid guide horn tracks, just like... well, actually, my Tamiya Storm Tiger had them, the Indie Link solid guide horn ones, but they're inaccurate, so I can't use them. This is the origin of a lot of sprues that are still in every Dragon Tiger that we get. The standard A gun sprue, the standard B sprue with the idler and the final drives. The G sprue that's in here is like the initial part sprue. That's in a kit that was later released for much, much cheaper. Then you can get this kit for now. So the average cost on eBay, I've been watching it for about a month, is between $60 and $75 for 6252. So, then, they released this. This is 6253. This is essentially just different parts added to that same tooling. I'll pop it up in a bit so you can at least see what I'm talking about. These are not meant to be full reviews, by the way. I'm just talking about Dragon Tigers. So this is why they're expensive. They have all this stuff in them. This one has even more than the other one because it has these exhaust shrouds in it and the side fenders, which weren't on that initial version, that's why. And then everything else, and the grills, which the other one didn't have. So this one has way more stuff. And this is all the stuff that was in the other one. This is considered to be like the Tiger kit. There's the Magic tracks, again, solid guide horn, so I'm not going to use them. This is the origin of basically a ton of plastic that has been around and is still being sold. I don't need to list the sprues off like you know them. You're like, oh, I know that sprue. But like the turret roof sprue, the F rear plate sprue, the late wheels, the torsion bars, like all of these sprues, the R turret bin sprue, like these are all in every version of a Tiger kit that anyone's gotten in years. Now the average cost of this kit is $65 to $100. It tends to go for about $90 though, I've noticed. I got it for a lot cheaper because I watched it like a hawk for months. Worth mentioning is that both of these kits have these single-piece turrets. These are important. Good Dragon Tigers have these. So, I don't want to dig through this completely, but the point of this is that this is a really, really cool model. I'm going to leave this out, actually. But I don't think it's worth $100. Now, I've even heard some people say these shrouds are oversized. This stuff is cool, because you can bend these shrouds, and metal barrels are great and everything. And buckets make Tiger models awesome, I guess, I don't know. But $100, I don't know about that. That seems a bit much to me. So after that, Dragon in the same year put out 6286, which is the initial DAC, the Cyber Hobby White Box. This is like the most expensive Dragon Tiger I've ever heard of. Has the same metal parts as 6252, with the addition of PE grills this time. and plastic bits for the fivals that have never been in a Dragon Tiger up until then. It also had plastic deck, angled shrouds, and the rear mud flaps. Same garbage magic tracks with solid guide horns. Average cost of this goes between $200 and $500 on eBay. It is bonkers. Now, that's because these parts have never been available in any other kit except for this one. Now, it was announced, I found out about yesterday, that Dragon is releasing Tiger 131, right there, kit in June, 6820, which will have the initial fivals, which will make this DAC one a little bit less valuable. Still has parts, the shrouds, which aren't in any other kit, but still, maybe we can finally knock that thing off of being as expensive as it is. So then in 2006, they released 6350, which is the Michael Wittmann Kursk Tiger. Again, bunch of goodies, PE grills, barrel, antenna tube, shackles, all that stuff. Same tracks. Now this is the first time that they put the Tiger P turret sprue in instead of the single piece one. So I will show you this when we get to it in one of the other kits, but this is a halves for the turret, similar to the way Tamiya does it. This is for that, the Tamiya DAC Tiger I had up here a minute ago. This is how their turrets are. This is how all Tamiya's turrets are. So Dragon went from having that really cool one-piece one to doing this for some reason in a white box kit. White box kits are expensive. So that was the first time you see that. Now the average cost of this thing is between $100 and $275. The last few weeks it's been about $200 every time I've seen it. So these had the same early fivals, I think. No, these didn't. These had later fivals, which are the on an early Tiger, but the one-piece can ones. So these are all super expensive. My point that I'm trying to make is these kits are bonkers expensive and they don't make any sense. I mean, if you really want it, or you're like a Wittmann collector guy, or you just got money to blow, knock yourself out. But these kits are not, in my opinion, like I'd rather upgrade a Tamiya DAC than buy a $500 Dragon one. So, then Dragon released this guy. This is 6406. This is the exact same kit as 6253, this one I left the instructions out for, minus the goodies. The difference is the lack of metal parts and no magic tracks, right? Also a much smaller decal sheet. The magic tracks didn't have lightning holes. These DS tracks that they added in here do. So let me open this up real quick. Right, so what I wanted to show people, and hopefully this will translate, get that out of here, is these two instruction sheets. If you look at the plastic, they're exactly the same. All of the sprues are the exact same sprues, right? Except this one has DS, this one has magic tracks and goodies. Which, by the way, I don't use a ton of PE, so to me it's not as useful. Same exact sprues. Difference is this thing still goes for 50 bucks. You could even find it on Scale Hobbyist, at least the end of last year, for 50 brand new. It still does have grills, which all the Dragon stuff do, and it's got metal toe cables and PE. It's not bad, it's just not that one, but it's half as much. All of the exact same plastic, so the price difference is crazy. It's half as much. So that's one of the main reasons I wanted to make this video, is that people should understand that if you see this guy, it is the exact same as this guy, just without the metal bits. Exactly the same. But if you're really into metal barrels and stuff, the Dragon Tiger barrels are not two-piece, they're not halves, they're great, so. Okay, so after that, Dragon put out 6416, which is a late, which is basically 6406, but people, it's weird, it just has different marking options, and people are paying between 60 and 100 for it instead of 50, 55, so it's basically the kit I just showed you, but goes for more money, because it has different marking options and different box. In 2008, after that, Dragon put out 6335, which is the Fairman Tiger, which I mentioned earlier. This does have a barrel, metal barrel, and shackles and stuff. Still DS tracks. It's what they do a lot, just an assembly of previous parts, right? They just threw in an early turret, which, by the way, is a Tiger P turret. the two halves of the turret. And this kit goes for $100, so it's got the cheap version of a turret, and it's way more expensive than it should be. So I don't really recommend that one at all. Then in 2008, Dragon puts out this. This is the exact same kit as the other two. However, it does not have the command antennas for the ability to make a command tiger. The other two were 3-in-1s, this one isn't. This one, though, has Zimmerit molded on it, which both of the other two needed to have put on aftermarket. So in my opinion, I like this one better. This still goes for about $45 around eBay and even on Scale Hobbyist still. $47, I think. DS tracks, yes, so I've had to replace, I would have to replace the tracks, and I did in that one back there. This is this kit. So I have to replace the tracks in all of them anyway, so it makes no difference to me. So again, though, the same base sprues, exactly the same. So, there's no need, if you don't have the money, to buy the Super Kit Tiger with all the metal stuff, because the plastic is exactly the same. Right, so out of the three of those, I always tell people they should buy the Zimmerit one, the last one I showed, because it's cheaper. It's like $45. It's awesome. I love it. Okay, so then I don't have any more notes for this, but then you get this guy. This is 6600, which is a rebox of 6252. Exactly the way that 6406 has all the same plastic as 6253. This one has all the same plastic as 6252. Same kit, just with DS tracks and actually this one has photo etch grills, whereas 6552 does not. But I keep going on about it, and I'll show it to you. This is the Tiger P sprue I'm talking about. My apologies for not opening this, but here's the two halves of the turret. So this is different from 6252 to this one. This one has the half turret, so the cheap turret. So, but this goes for cheap. I've seen it as high as 60, but normally it's about 40, 45. So, that, again, rebox. Much better in my opinion, because 6252 can go for 70, 80 bucks. That'll go for like 45. Then you've got this guy. This is 6700. This starts to get where they're not just reboxing stuff. It is a mixture of late and early parts, but it is a one-piece turret. It's got molded on Zim, which isn't quite as intense as it is on 6383. I know that you don't know these numbers as well as me. That one. These both have Zimmerit molded on. I haven't built this yet, but the parts look nice. But I've actually heard some grumblings about it. I don't remember what they are, but this has DS, but it also has grills. So this is the only mid. Now there is the Autocarius Battle of Malinovka mid, which goes for, I saw it for 85 last week. Exact same kit as this, except that one has early DS tracks instead of mid-lates, and it has a Tiger P mantlet with Zimmerit. Now I'm going to have to scratch build that, or take an early and just put Zim on it myself with milliput or something, if I want to do Carius' 217. So, I guess my point about this is I would recommend people buying this and upgrading it to look like 217 than buying a $100 kit that is 217. Again, unless you've got money coming out your ears. But that does have the one-piece turret, but it's very much the same as all the other ones. Then you have this one. This is Cyber Hobby 9142, the famous orange box tiger. This has some issues. So if you're looking at tigers and you see this guy, you need to know some stuff. The major differences are, yes, it still has, sorry for the noise, the two-piece cheap turret, but it has this for wheels instead of a sprue full of wheels. It has a bunch of these things. I'm going to cut these off and make them separate anyway. So, it's great for what it used to cost. It used to cost 30 bucks. I've seen it as high as 60 now, because now it's out of production. Oh, and there's one other major difference in this one. Now, I haven't been digging into these as much. Maybe I should have been more so you can understand. But Let me grab... So this is a standard Dragon hull, where you have to put in the swing arms to the torsion bars. And this is 9142's hull. These are molded on. There are great reviews of this. Cohen did one, very long one, where he explains every little thing. That's why I'm not trying to do a review here. I'm just trying to run down what costs what and what kind of tires you can make with them. So this is 9142 versus this is from 6600, and every other Tiger except for the H2 that just came out had these, or this one, this hull, which is a scaled up 148 hull, I believe I read. So that's bad, because you can't conform it to diorama bases, and it's whatever. I don't actually care, because I don't do that. So for me, it's fine. It's a little annoying because it doesn't look quite as good, but... So that thing runs currently for about... You can find it on eBay for about $35. But it used to be like 29 bucks on Scale Hobbyist, and it's awesome. Now let me run back through these a bit, because I've been going a little bit over some things that I wanted to. This can only build an early, right? So it's meant to be in Michael Wittmann's company at Kursk, but later Fievel's, this is an early Tiger. The mid was obviously a mid. All of these lates, right? So the late with Zim, and late without Zim, without the goodies, and the initial tooling. So all three of these, they all build the exact same thing. Late Tigers, and only late Tigers. Steel wheel, you know, Normandy or Eastern Front stuff, but all the exact same stuff. It's just the ones without Zimmerant can build command tanks, whereas the Zimmerant one can't. So then, also, 6600, which I showed. Let me get my stuff together here. Can make an initial. So it's the Reebok to 6252. I'm making a mess over here, sorry. This guy can only make the Leningrad initials, and that's it. So Tiger 3, Tiger 100, Tiger 111, like I said, there's only like 9 of them. And that's all this can make. You could modify it to be a DAC one if you got some side stuff and some shrouds, a wider turret bed. It would actually require quite a lot of upgrading to do. But I've thought about it. And the last one I have is this guy. This is 6730. This is a late command, and as Cohen has pointed out, this is not actually Wittmann's Tiger. It's his company commander's Tiger, I believe. So it's a little bit broken. Like, it doesn't quite know what it is. This has some really nice new parts in it. I haven't built it yet, but it is good. It is better for an early than Cyber Hobby one. So, but it is more expensive. I paid, I think, $80 for that, whereas this I paid $30 for. They essentially build the same era of Tiger. It's just this can do a command one, although it doesn't come with antennas and it comes with DS, so I have to upgrade a lot of stuff on this. So these two kits can make the same era early Tigers, right? This one is super expensive, comes with figures, it's got way better wheels, it's got really nice crisp parts, brand new stuff. This was basically just a bunch of older parts slapped together, which is why it's an orange box, and that's fine. But if you're looking to build an early Tiger, right now these are your two choices. There will be 6820 come June. I'm not sure if that's white box or not, so it may be expensive. I think it's pre-ordering for $80. So I rushed through that a bit, but those are all the Dragon kits that I have of Tigers. And I don't want to give recommendations. Like this guy, you can start with this guy, I think, but it's a little bit simplified. And it's pretty good value if you can still get it cheaply. That Wittmann one's super expensive. The thing that I'm really trying to get people not to do is overpay for these lates. Like, I don't want people to overpay for this. It's super sweet, and it's kind of like a badge of honor if you're a Tiger guy to have it, but it's not worth it if you understand that you can get the same plastic in this guy, right? Like, are you going to use those solid horn magic tracks? Because then that's, I don't know. Why pay $100 for a Tiger kit and then use magic tracks that aren't accurate? That doesn't make any sense to me. So if you're going to replace them anyway, this makes more sense to me. Plus, if you're going to do Zimmerit anyway, this makes more sense to me. And it's cheaper. It's the cheapest of the three of them. So, kind of wish I had a bunch of these. although I have enough tigers as it is. And then I'll just give some final thoughts on these things. Like 6252 is great, but this is about 2/3 the price, and all of these kits that are Reeboks, they upgrade parts on these things in between times that they mold them. So like I think there's some stuff on the bottom of this hull that was fixed because Burton kind of told them it was wrong or something. So even these late ones, the newer the kits get, they actually have been changed. If you want a mid, this is kind of your only option. So unless you want to go white box. So this one, there's not much to argue. There is no other kits for this yet. This is all Dragon has. And that's kind of about it. Recommendations, like someone who wants to build their very first one, I'm going to go with this one all day long because it was super easy to build. Here it is. It was awesome. I liked it a lot. Or the orange box one would be good. Just don't go trying to spend like crazy amounts of money. Now, tigers all together, I think I would probably suggest that people build, not that it's probably just because I built them, but 35216, the early Tamiya one. I like that a lot too, because that was super fast. You can build that in like a weekend. So overall, Dragon have a bunch of tigers. Don't let the box art and the goodie stuff fool you. They basically only have a handful of sprues, and they rebox them and they fix them every once in a while and they put new stuff in there, but they are essentially the same with minor changes put into them, and I've tried to explain some of those to you, and I may have rambled on and missed the point, but I'm just trying to help out people who want to build tigers. So that's all I got, really. Hopefully this is helpful to someone. I will see you